In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Realities Temple on Earth. Of course, I'm the gatekeeper of this internet ministry, known as the mighty Angelsnupnup7. Yo, brother! With an A. Yo, brother! And hopefully your friend, Taalik, Ibn'rad. I want to talk to us for a few minutes about our behaviors. Our behaviors that I find most disturbing. Behaviors that come from probably just being ignorant, poor character, somewhere along that line. So, every time I talk with us, I don't want you to think that I'm bashing us or trying to down you or embarrass us or anything like that. I just want us to become the best people that we can be. What I find disturbing is in recent times on YouTube and in other places, I've seen very disrespectful comments made toward those of whom might be called black leaders. I can't stand Jesse Jackson. He makes me sick. Louis Farrakhan is a loser. Al Sharpton is a begging nigger, or whatever. All these things, are they necessary? I want to make something perfectly clear. You do have a right to your opinion. There's no doubt about that. I would never tell a person they don't have a right to their opinion. And nobody, I don't care how great they think they might be, nobody, no one is above critique. No one. But brothers and sisters, we must have respect. We must have respect for our black leadership. We must have respect for our black leadership regardless to whether they are male or female, whomever they are. Because if it was not for that black leadership, if it was not for those in the forefront of this battle, you would not exist. You couldn't say the things that you say. You wouldn't be nothing. Because in your lifetime, what have you done? You've done nothing. You've earned nothing. The reason why you speak is on their backs. Because of what they helped to achieve. What they done. Now, I don't have to like everything that Louis Farrakhan says or does. I don't have to like everything Jesse said or does or done in the past, or Al Sharpton, or any of our people who are in leadership positions. And I will critique them. But we must respect our leadership, regardless to how you feel about them. You don't have to call them a fool. You don't have to call them out of their name. Just state what you dislike and go about your business. What's up with the disrespect? You disrespect because you lack character. Because you're ignorant. These are our fathers. These are our living ancestors. But see, you don't care nothing about living ancestors. You are obsessed with the dead. Oh, I love Malcolm. I love Elijah Muhammad. Oh, I wish I was alive when Nat Turner had that rebellion. Oh, I love Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman or Martin Luther King. Why do you love them? You love them because they are all dead. They no longer exist. Because I can guarantee you, if you were around Malcolm or Elijah Muhammad or Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Harriet Tubman, any of these persons, you would treat them the same way you treat Farrakhan or Sharpton or even Representative Maxine Waters or whomever. You'll do the same thing. You don't have no respect for your own black self. These are the forerunners. Jesse is an old man now. Farrakhan is an old man now. Most of our most influential black leadership, they are elderly now. You don't expect older people to keep the same fire they had when they were 20 years old, 30 and 40 and 50 years old. You get tired. And especially you get tired when you're working with a people who don't want to be liberated. You talk a good game, but you sit at home on your lazy ass watching YouTube videos. You're not in the battle like Farrakhan. You're not in the battle like Jesse was. I don't care what they are today or what they're doing today. These are our forefathers. These are our living ancestors. How dare you disrespect them? Farrakhan is a fool. Jesse makes me sick. What have you done? You're doing nothing but living off their accomplishments. So you don't respect them. And chances are, those of you who disrespect black leadership, you are following nobody. You're not under Farrakhan, you're not under Sharpton or nobody. You're just sitting your ass at home doing nothing except running your dang mouth. But we all are under some type of power. We are all under some type of authority. So if you are not under the authority of a black man, then whose authority are you under? You are under the authority of the people whom you claim you don't like. And that is the racist Caucasian people. And yeah, well, you call them fools, you call them devils, and all this kind of stuff. But the majority of you that run in your mouth, that disrespect our black leadership, you don't talk all that stuff on your job around white folks. And if you are a so-called black business owner with the same type of silly, ignorant behavior, you don't tell white folks how to get off if they are your customers, but you have the nerve to disrespect living black leadership. And you got all these dead people on your wall. Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey ain't been here for generations. All these dead folks on your wall. Because you can take dead folks and make them whatever you want. The way they do Santa Claus. Or maybe some fictional person you've thrown on the wall. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's not easy being a black leader, especially when we don't have a lot of experience. So when you're looking at black leadership, you're looking at trial and error. We, our people, the descendants of slaves in America, we have been slaves for over 300 some years. We've never led ourselves. We've always been the sheep, but never the shepherd. So, black leadership is doing something that's brand new. So, we are in a cycle of trial and error. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Sometimes they may seem like they're doing something foolish. This is all new. We just recently been doing this, trying to lead ourselves, trying to find our way through terrorism, through these hidden bombs below our feet. All these powers that's against us. We are like the Jesus of the Bible. We have a government on our shoulders, and we're trying to survive. Richard Pryor, may he rest in peace. And I love Brother Richard Pryor. He said in one of his comedy acts that he was never going to use the word nigger no more, because he came to understand he's much more than that. And it's disrespectful if you call somebody a nigger. If you call Farrakhan a fool and Sharpton a fool, you're only doing that to yourself. Because when you see one black man, you're looking at yourself in the mirror. So you disrespect him, you're disrespecting yourself. Richard Pryor said, be happy for any black man that's doing anything positive. Farrakhan, whether you like him or not, Jesse, Sharpton, and so many of us out here, even the new guys. I might be one of the new guys. We're trying to make an effort. This is new. And we're not getting help from the people, because the people we're trying to help don't want no help. They are satisfied living in a slave-like condition. They are satisfied being a sheep. They don't want to be the shepherd, because being a sheep is all they know. But you have brave people risking their lives. You have brothers and sisters on YouTube. Not only our national leadership, but so many of us, known and unknown, actually risking our lives, trying to awaken the masses of the people, because you are more than a sheep. You and I, we are the sleeping lion. And that's what these racists and our enemies, that's what they know. That's what they fear. So they want to try to keep you asleep. Because when you wake up, black man and woman of America, when you wake up and you don't even have to show your teeth, just begin to roar, they know it's over for them. They know that it's over. But please, I would beg you to think about this issue. Some of you will lie. And I think I just said this. But you do. You lie talking about how you respect Malcolm or Harriet Tubman or Martin Luther King if they were living with us, because there are those who did live with them. And you could hear the disappointment in Martin Luther King's voice and Malcolm. They had a hard job on their hands. There's a brother out here in his way trying to reach the people, but the people are not responding. Even in his own house, it's very difficult trying to get black folks together because we are sheep. But we look at black leadership as another sheep. But when that white man cracks that whip, there you go, mumbling like the coward you are under your breath. But you're not going to disrespect him like you disrespect our people. So bottom line, brothers and sisters, let us stop disrespecting our living ancestors. Stop tripping off the dead. We respect the dead and we remember them. But it's only the living that can guide and get the living out of this hellhole that we've been in for the last 400 years. Thank you for listening. Respect the Farrakhan, respect the Sharpton, respect to all of y'all that's trying to do something for us. Thank you for listening. Peace and respect you.
We talk about black sovereignty and black rulership. People get Christian. They too Christian to accept black rulership and black divinity. Why do I say that? Because their idea of perfection is perfectly impossible to stand in. Their idea of being perfect is perfectly impossible to stand in. Let me show you how. Let me show you how. If, based on their idea of what perfection is, none of the black people who have ever existed on the planet is fit to be rulers, based on the Christian ideas and the Christian concepts. None of them ever. Their idea of perfection, no black man since the beginning of time has ever been perfect. Not one king. From Idi Amin all the way back to Mansa Musa, dealing with the Mahdi of Sudan. Not one of our rulers is perfect. If we look at the standards by in which they hold men today, every super self-righteous standard is an assassination of the impeccable character of the black man. Every standard that they hold. So that makes me jump to the reverse of what I call the nigger cannot do no wrong standard. What do I mean by that? If your idea of perfection is how you constantly dethrone your leaders.
Teach.
Because your idea of perfection is a made-up story in a biblical book, a mythological fairy tale book that was made up by white supremacy. That's your idea of perfection.
Make it plain.
But it's so oxymoronic. The irony of it is that even the white man cannot live up to that.
Come on.
But even though he doesn't live up to it, since he's created in the image and likeness of it, he doesn't have to live up to it. Because just because he's white, no matter what he do, it's all right.
Come on.
Period. So he's still sinless. His sinlessness falls into endlessness. But when it comes to the black man, you judge him by a different standard.
Come on.
You won't judge him by the nigger can do no wrong standard. Which the white man can do no wrong standard is the one that you really hold. The nigger can do no wrong standard is the only way that we will establish a sovereign nation. That's going to blow some people's mind. Because that is the only concept that can withstand any character attacks or assassination that has been used to bring down any black leaders that we have had since the beginning of time. The nigger can do no wrong act. I'm calling it, I'm codifying it. The nigger can do no wrong act. That's what we need to implement. Because that's the only way we can have rulers to stay in power eternally.
Teach.
That's a fact. Because based on our concept of right and wrong, we read from a book in the Bible that says man is imperfect. And that man is capable, and that man will sin, and man is capable of sin. This is what our book says.
Come on.
So that means we can never have a leader that is unassassinatable, if I might make that word up. We cannot have a leader that we cannot assassinate. Because according to the Bible, man was born and created in sin and iniquity. So every leader that we have is already a sinner. Thus, we have already assassinated them before they've got up there. Thus, we will never have a black leader. And by default, we will continue to accept white supremacy.
Teach.
But with the nigger can do no wrong act that I'm implementing, we will have a leader that can never be brought down ever by the forces of white supremacy. Thus, we can have the integrity of a nation, because a nation is built on the integrity of its leadership.
Come on.
Now, when we talk about integrity, we usually throw that on one person. When we think of integrity, we say, well, what integrity does that person have? What does integrity that person have? But we overlook the integrity that we have to that person. We in our minds already have made up that that person is imperfect. So if integrity was based on perfection, then there's no one of whom we should have integrity to.
Come on.
And there's no reason we should have integrity to anyone. But if we can have integrity even while simultaneously having the notion of imperfection, because we cannot escape the mental imprisonment of Christianity through training and upbringing, then we will have some black leadership that can withstand white supremacy.
Come on.
According to your good book and your standards, be that Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, or even some type of secular humanism that is still within the confines of white supremacy, I've already done wrong. I'm already a sinner. I've already done some wrong in some of those books. I'm already wrong at the gate. According to these books, this is a fact. Those books have it be that way by design, and we accept it. So if by those books I'm already wrong, then you don't have to argue. You don't have to wait till gossip comes out about me about, oh, well, King Noble did this and King Noble did that. I can't believe King Noble is this. I can't. Well, you already know, according to your books, I'm already born in sin. So you wasn't following me because I was a non-sinner. Because if you were a true Christian, right, you know that man is already condemned in sin, right? According to your book, the flesh is sinful. You see the contradiction here. According to your book, man is already born in sin. Man is already sinful. So you wasn't following me because I was perfect anyway. And if perfection was the reason to follow me, then hell, you should not follow no man, no black man, right?
Teach.
Because no man is perfect according to the same book. So look at the contradictions that we're going in. You see the confusion. So the confusion is so dense that we can only come up to the fact that these philosophies and theories are rigged to constantly assassinate the character, to destabilize black leadership infinitely.
Go ahead.
This is how the white man came to Africa and played the divide and conquer strategy. He tried to find corruption, and he taught Christianity to make all of our leaders corrupt and make us perceive our leaders as corrupt and perceive our leaders as evil. And as soon as we perceive them as evil, then we lose integrity, we reject them, and we accept white supremacy and white supremacist imperialism as our leader. And based on a book, good book with a white Jesus, with white supremacy being the iconic figure of the religious theology, we can never ever accept a black man as good enough to lead us ever. It is ingrained within our subconscious mind. So, with this argument that I'm making, with this point that I'm making, I'm arguing, I'm showing you the self-defeatist attitude. I'm showing you the philosophical conundrum that is keeping us trapped in white supremacy and unable to establish and embrace strong black leadership in 2012. I'm showing you what we're up against. I'm showing you that the whole idea and concept of right and wrong, the duality, which has become the bipolarism, the schizophrenia that has been induced in our people, the whole concept of morality is a second guess, a second look from an evil eye
Bring.
of our people, of our leadership, and of our nation. They gave us a measure of doubt. They laced our consciousness and our perception with self-defeat. I'm going in. I'm going in.
See.
So we look for wrong in our people that we were already taught was already in them based on the fundamentals of Christianity.
Go ahead. Bring it.
So we're looking for them to be what we have already been theologically educated on them to be. So they've already failed. So we will never have black leadership. But if we implement the nigger can do no wrong code, that's the end of that. That's a fact. The nigger can do no wrong code will put an end to that, and we will have stable black leadership that can rule and dominate. Does that mean that we can that this is unquestionable leadership, or that this leadership is not criticized, or that we do not have a critical eye, and that it is not a progressive leadership, and we cannot use progressive understanding in order to develop effective strategies? No. It just means that it is not a fatalistic question of right and wrong, as much as it is a question. It's less of condemnation and more of a look at the effectiveness of something. So it's less of a theological argument and more of a strategical argument.
See.
The problem that we have with our leaders now, via gang leaders, via leaders that have been classified as political prisoners, leaders that are terrorists, classified as terrorists. The major argument that we're having with them is a question of theological mythos. It's not a question of strategy and effectiveness. It's the question of, are you doing what Jesus wants you to do? It's the question of, is your behavior consistent with King Flames? Is your behavior consistent with William Tinsdale? Is it consistent with the Nicene Council? Is it consistent with Europe and European standards of reality? Is it consistent with Western imperialism, Western cultural imperialism? That becomes the real question. Not, is it strategically effective for our people? Are you going? It's a question now of, is your behavior leading you to end up in a mythological heaven or hell? Or is it effective for the result that is being produced on this planet? I think a question of strategy should remain, but a question of rigged for failure theology, that's what I call it, needs to be thrown out. We need to get rid of that. And that's my solution. The nigger can do no wrong code. Institute, the nigger could do better. Institute, the nigger could do something different. Institute, I wouldn't have did that if I was that nigger. But get rid of the idea of the perfect Negro that is consistent with European theological, mythological ideology. Because if we keep that, we will never have leadership, and the white man will continue to rule by default. That's what I call black divinity. Black divinity will remove the polar opposite conflict of a supreme right and a supreme wrong.
Bring it home.
Because this is a dangerous type of confrontation. You know, this is a dangerous type of zealotry, mental zealotry. Very dangerous. That needs to get rid of this type of religious compulsion, compulsiveness, mythological obsessiveness, theological addiction. We got to get rid of that. That's the problem. You know, that's why we're quick to our people can love you 1 minute and completely condemn you to hell the next minute, because it is a ultimate question of the ultimate right versus the ultimate wrong, and not a sober look at what is effective, what is strategical, what is really that non-threatening, what is really not that much of a matter of life and death, what is not irreparable, what is not irreversible, and what has been given to us by a slave master, what needs to be more thoroughly thought out and meditated and deliberated upon, and just what needs to be thrown the hell away. It becomes a question of that. So that black divinity and black rulership, that's the section I want to cover on that. Until we can have an unblemished and spotless perception of those who have incarnated to be our leaders and rulers in this day and time, will we as a people win the battle against white supremacy?
Come on.
We let white supremacist ideology and white supremacist leadership determine who we should follow, or who we shouldn't follow, or why we should follow somebody. And all that leads to white supremacy continuing to stay in power. Even if that source of white supremacy, whether it is theological, moral, psychological, sociological, whatever white supremacist source that is being utilized, has totally been working against us as a people. We certainly need one to rise up as a sovereign entity to rule in our community. This is unavoidable. We certainly need that to have nationalism, to have a nation, and to have the type of integrity that will make us a strong force against white supremacy. And it's not always a question of the integrity of that entity or that individual that is to rule. It's sometimes more of a question of the people's ability, through their psychology and through their understanding, to have integrity to that entity. But for most, they cannot have integrity to that entity, because everything they have been taught is to not have integrity and to find some reason that they was taught that is already there.
Come on.
As a reason not to have integrity. That's, I mean, just look at the foolishness of that. If you're going to be a Christian, and you're going to see that all men are sinners and no man's ever going to live up to that, and no man's ever going to be Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ died for the sins of all men and he's the most perfect man. In the same breath, you should stop being so judgmental and so condemning of the best of men that are on the earth that fall short of what Jesus Christ was which you have concluded on that no man can ever be. Do you understand? That's important. You must not measure men by the impossible that you have decided in your own mind, and measure them by the relative greatness that they are manifesting for the people, as the people on this planet.